Yes, people, welcome to the channel. And you know what? This was meant to be a happy day, but I knew I was taking a risk when I said to myself, the first video I was going to do for this channel was going to be post-international break, derby day, opportunity for a little scalp, victory. If we get a win, City have been poor for a while, euphoria. Can start off well, but look what I get. 3-0, no quality. No urgency, a lot of huff and puff, and just really more of the same. And then a lot of people were saying, I was delusional for being confident going into the game. But realistically, it was one of them where I've watched City's first 3 games and they were very, very beatable. And I thought with the players that we have and the way that we play, and we usually quite good on the counter. I think if there's one thing about Amorim's United is transitions, mini transitions, counter-attacking football, quality players in forward areas such as Bruno, Ahmad, you've got Sesko, and you've got Bruno. We got enough to hurt City, who have been hurt by pretty much every team they've played this season. And I still saw those vulnerabilities today when I was watching City. And we created little to nothing until we were 3-0 down. I know you're going to get all these XG accumulators after the game saying, we created 1.56 XG and we didn't score. It's not Amorim, it's not the system, it's not the players. I'm always someone that thinks blame should be shared. You got players that aren't doing enough, and you've got a manager that's also not doing enough. It doesn't always have to be radical one way or the other, and that's always where I've sat on things. But when you're sitting here and we've won 8 games in 31 in the league, or something along them lines, something is massively wrong. Say what you want to say about the players. We've invested quite a lot. Obviously, we don't have Cunha on the pitch today, but I can't deal with the fact that every game seems to be this long, arduous effort to get a result. I can't remember the last time that a football match has felt easy watching United. It's always a struggle no matter who you play. And it's the Premier League. Man City, whether it's Fulham, whether it's Burnley, every team gives you a different test in a different way. And that's why the best teams are adaptable. They have a system that's strong, and they have a system and way of playing that covers a lot of bases. Not just, you play well against one certain game state, but as soon as it changes, it's like a massive hill to climb. But some of the performances, I will say, for the people, look at Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw, not his best today. I think he got quite a lot of blame for the Haaland goal, the one where Haaland's ran off him. Maybe he could have got across earlier, but sometimes you look at that and it's just better offense beats better defense every single time. Haaland's too quick, too powerful, too strong for him. You can go back to Ugarte getting megged on the touchline, and then you've got Doku getting wrong side of Euro. I think Euro could have been stronger then. But for me, I'm just sick of my team losing, and that's just the bottom line. I was almost not going to do this. I was like, what a drab way to do my first ever video on YouTube when it's like that. Do you know what I think? Because I saw positives against Burnley. I've seen a couple positives against Arsenal, but I've gotten to a point where I'm watching Manchester United, which is still a big football club, no matter what lower standards people want to kind of bring it down to. And I'm thinking, why can I only just pick moments out of games? United have good players. There should be moments in games. Why can I not see a 70 to 90 minute performance ever from this football club? And I'm seeing the same things over and over again. And it's just issues, and I don't feel like repeating myself. I was concerned about the midfield pivot today. I saw Bruno Fernandes and I saw Ugarte, and I think that's never going to work. Ugarte, to be fair to him, I don't think he was that bad today. I thought he was decent. Put himself about, still not that great, never really passed forward. I think he had one good pass though, in behind to Mbumo that Mbumo skied. I think he was a little bit wasteful in forward areas, and Mbumo's my guy. I think he was the biggest threat today. That's his whole MO. He's a goal getter, he's an assist getter. He's from that Salah mould. He's not always going to look the prettiest, even though he's got good technical ability. He's not someone that's going to go and beat 7 people 1v1. That's not him. He does his damage in the final third if you get him the ball enough, and he's a shot generator. He works angles very well, and you saw that today. If it wasn't for a Donnarumma wonder save, he gets on the score sheet, but would it have been consolation? Probably. But I'm sick to death of matches and XG being accumulated. I don't want to see another XG table. That will do my head in. But I'm seeing XG accumulated as soon as teams have already gone 1 or 2 goals ahead, trying to protect a lead or are sitting off. Why can't we ever pin teams in their own halves? Why can't we impose ourselves on teams? I know there's a physicality issue, but it's also it's systematic as well. And I was a big advocate for Dorgu going into the season, thinking he was going to be very, very important and vital to things we do well. But I looked at it and I thought, I think Dorgu will be a really good left back in a back four. I can see that. He's got the tools. But in this left wing back role that he's deployed in, where all our best patterns of play ends up with Dorgu in the final third in a 1v1 situation where he looks like a fish out of water. There's something wrong there. You got to platform your players in positions where they perform best. I think that should always be rule one of management. But what I'm seeing is you've got players that don't have certain attributes, that don't suit certain things, being asked to do them things. And then we're sitting there surprised why performances don't go too well. And then people will say, all right, just get rid of those players and get players in that can do it. I'm not sure I believe in that anyway. But the Dorgu situation is something that's starting to concern me a little bit. His final ball can be better. His technical security can be better. But I think I'm watching a young left back with a bit of potential being hung out to dry by being this almost like pseudo left winger when we get into attacking situations where he's asked to beat Premier League level fullbacks 1v1. That's not him. He's a fullback. And I believe we should be getting our players that have better attacking talent and a better resume of going forward in those areas. So I don't know. I'm just disappointed today. I'm a little bit wounded. I thought, you know what? I knew it was a risk saying that I was going to do my first video today. Obviously, I've never done a solo video before. I've done a couple for the fan channel downstairs, but obviously this is a little bit different. And I thought I had too much thoughts going on. I was like, I'll be waffling. I'll be going on for ages about how... Because for me, I'm looking at Chelsea yesterday and I think, oh, if United play well, we can beat Chelsea as well. I go into every game thinking United have a chance. We always have a puncher's chance. We've got players that can hurt players. We've got internationals in the team. Not hurt players, but hurt teams. We've got full internationals in the team. There's quality there. I'm seeing lesser players on lesser teams getting maximised more. And that's my biggest bugbear. And everyone will go, oh, you're Amorim out or you're Amorim in. And I'm thinking, I don't see things that binary. But what I do want to see is something to get behind. And United aren't really giving me much to get behind. Amorim's not giving me much to get behind. And that's just a fact. That might annoy you, it might not. Because even Ahmad today, Ahmad didn't have his best game at all. But I think he's another one that's become a little bit of a victim of this almost United disease where if you're looking at the last 5 to 10 years, outside of Bruno Fernandes, there's been no one that's shown a level of consistency in terms of their performance level or developed to improved. You get purple patches, you get little spells, but you get nothing sustained. And it's like, are these players that play well for 5-6 games before they fall back to the mean? Are those 5-6 games where they're kind of having to, how would you word it? Almost like overcome systematic issues or having to overcome the negative performances of the team, and then they eventually get dragged down. Because it's football. It's not always about individualism. It's about being a unit. It's about players being in synergy, having relationships, having partnerships, and you can't really point to many. I'm seeing centre-half changes. I've never been a fan of that. I think that just makes teams a little bit disorganised. And then you saw that, I think, as soon as Euro come off and Maguire come on, it just seemed like a little bit disjointed at the back. And I didn't think that was a game state thing where we were just chasing it. I thought that was... I think as a centre-half coming on into a game, going at that speed, where you haven't really got time to warm up and you're up against one of the best strikers we've ever seen live, it's a tough ask. And just as I'm filming you, I'm hearing the rain pouring down, and that's what it feels like watching United. Not to be poetic, but when it rains, it pours. Still yet to see a back-to-back win in the Premier League under Amorim in 31 games. There is nothing that can legislate for that. And there's no excuses. Obviously, we have no Mount today. We have no Cunha. I think Cunha would have made a big difference today with his pace and his power and his maverick ability. I thought that was a huge miss. And when I knew he wasn't going to be available, that did lessen my optimism slightly. But even still, injury is a part of the game. It's an ever-present variable almost. Every team deals with that. City had about 10 injuries out today. I know they're in a different place and they've got a different level of state funding. But all I can do is talk about what I've seen between the lines today, and it was very underwhelming. It was very disappointing, and it's just like I can't ever see 20-25 minutes of legit good play. And then you've obviously got individual errors compounding that, and then you've got a keeper in Bayern that just fills me with no confidence, and I know how it feels like playing in a football team. I think that the likes of Onana and Bayern and their kind of anxiousness and nervousness about whether they're going to make a mistake or give the ball away, that emanates onto your back line and then to the middle and to your midfielders, onto your strikers. They have no belief in you from corners defensively. And I think it's just a catalogue of errors. And the problem with United is you look at it now and you can't point to one or two issues that you can fix. There's always several, and it feels like every week that you watch United, another one props up. And that's the biggest concern. I looked at Sesko today. I saw some criticism. I thought he showed me a little bit. Sometimes I look at players, and even if their performance on the day wasn't great, you can see whether they have a bit about them or if they have a little bit of ability. And I think he does. There's talent there. Is talent always enough? And all mentality is so important. And it's about that consistency as well, and that ability to kind of apply your ability week in, week out. But how many players are we seeing doing that for United? Not enough. But something needs to give. Something needs to change. And Bruno Fernandes, you've probably gone into this quite far into this review now. I'm thinking, how have you not mentioned him? I don't think he suits anywhere in this system. And if he's your best player, and if he's 30 going on 31 and you've rejected a huge exorbitant amount of money that United may need for a rebuild for him, I think the best thing you could do is put him in positions where he probably plays best. He's not a pivot midfield player. Doesn't have the temperament for it, in or out of possession. It doesn't suit him. The best thing about Bruno is the fact that he's, like KDB, takes risks. He's a creative demon in terms of the final third. He's not someone that picks the ball up off centre-halves or marshals the middle area of the pitch, which is the most important area of the pitch in football, especially in a system that really hangs pivot midfielders out to dry. And why would you put Bruno, who you want to get on the ball the most, in the midfield pivot when we play a system that's basically built to bypass the midfield anyway? So you're bypassing your best player. And the fact that Bruno has to play there shows the lack of what I've always mentioned, no midfield recruitment. Why that was done, I have no idea. And you've got Kobe Mainoo, who they say can't run, he's not good enough. Comes on the pitch, I think he was one of the best players today. His cameo was brilliant. Quality, arrogance, everything you want in a Manchester United player in a derby game. Expressing himself, taking risks, going forward, nutmegs, driving with the ball. And apparently he's not good enough for this team. Do me a favour. Like, I'm never ever gonna come on here and crash out and lose my head. That isn't me. I'm just gonna talk up. I'm gonna say my thoughts. I'll probably come off this and probably have more thoughts that I didn't say. But I think for all you people watching, like, you know what was great and what wasn't today. And to be honest with you, that was most of it. But listen, like, comment, subscribe if you're new. Most of you'll be new anyway. This is the first video. And I'm going to start out doing reviews of games, but then eventually I'll start doing more videos. Start talking about things like what you want me to talk about. I'll start watching other games as well. I watch United. I'm not like Jay, who will give a little bit of stick downstairs saying he's not a football fan, he's a United fan. I'm a football fan, so I watch all football. But for me, to get my head down, because United have ruined my night once again, but as we always are with fans. We get delusional again. Another week comes and I think we'll beat Chelsea. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe if you're new. This was Ronaldo Brown's first video on YouTube. People have been begging me. Steve's been trying to tell me to do this for years now. But that's it for me. And I'll see you next time.